Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Omar. It is Sunday, January 19th, 2020, and noon, and I wanted to make a video for my watch list for this week. Last week, a fantastic week again for me. I mean, so many gap and craps right out of the open. I mean, at pre-market at 7 a.m., I've been catching so many of them. I mean, if you follow my Instagram story, you would just see again and again I've been just attacking and just banking. And I use E-Trade, and the reason why I use E-Trade, even though I think their executions are bad, just like Thinkorswims are pretty bad in my opinion, is because I can short all these stocks that I wouldn't be able to short with Thinkorswim. That's why I haven't switched. So just make sure you follow me on Instagram, watchotrade, and you can catch me trade these live and ask me questions in real time. Now, this is my watch list for next week. There's so many plays, guys. I can't even begin to tell you how many plays there are. But when I create these watch lists, I like to keep things real simple, man. Real simple. Now, why are these charts on my watch list? First, let's start with BDLP. Why? Because this is a daily, all right, and this is a 1 year chart. Broke out to new highs. Why reinvent the wheel, right? This is an easy technical chart to play. So what I would do, right, and I'm going to do this in real time. I didn't map anything, all right. So it closed at this 1235 level. I mean, that's like Friday. It opened at 11, and it gapped up to 12, and it's just been on this crazy uptrend. Don't reinvent the wheel, guys. So what I would do is I would map that high, right, 1213, the low 1167. Right, so I would be looking at those two levels to see what's going to happen, and then where the buyer stepped in, right around here, right at this like 1134 level and 1106, right? So I would be looking at these three levels. Now what I expect is, because it's just been it's been on this tear, right? And you can see the volume just keeps increasing. It increased over the last 3 days, and these buyers are stepping in, and it could potentially go, but you gotta expect it to have a red day. All right, even when stocks on an uptrend, they have red days, right? And people are gonna take profit, so you can get in on that profit taking day. Now this is where I would be interested to see if it's gonna retest this level, this high of 1093. So I'm gonna map that, all right, and I'm gonna map the low here, and I'm just gonna look and see when the market opens, see what happens. So you might not get a lot of pre-market volume. As you can see, pre-market, it doesn't really trade much, but I can't guarantee you, but I have a strong sense that in the open, because it's so overextended, that you're gonna see some profit taking, and you can capitalize that. And I think this is easy to borrow. So even with E-Trade, I mean with Thinkorswim, you should be able to short this. And I'd be looking to short it at the open on a pop. So like the market opens, it starts tanking, and then it pops, and then into the resistance, and then you just go short. So you have that confirmation, and then you take it down and look to cover here. And if it can't hold, just look for it to continue to go down. All right, the next support level. And then if the trend, because the overall trend is long, look for an area to say, hey, you know what? If this holds at a minimum of this level of, I may just get in on this and take it long. But a lot of these stocks are crappy, and there's gaps to fill below. So there's a gap to fill here. All right, so it can technically go back down, but you could check the fundamentals, see more about the company. I'm just playing the technical chart. So that's what I'm looking at BLDP. Now once it breaks back above 1213 and holds, ride it along. I mean, don't reinvent the wheel, guys. Like, this is what your gurus are not teaching you, and they make it sound so complicated. And because they're not teachers, they don't know anything about teaching adults. They just are marketers who are trying to hemorrhage money out of people. That's how they make their money. They're not real educators. I'm a real educator. Next up, CCXI. And I didn't map anything. I'm just doing this in real life, real time, just to show you. So why is this on my chart? Same thing, guys. I'm not reinventing the wheel. I went on FinViz, looked at the highest percentage gainers, and here's another breakout. All right, why reinvent the wheel? So because it's a technical chart pattern that's breaking out. Now again, you should always, and I didn't do this on the last chart, I should have, but you want to go back further in time and see, okay, look, so this stock, this is the all-time high. All right, but you always want to see what the next level of resistance above is when you're potentially going to buy a breakout. But all right, just to keep things simple, so right now it's 43.89 is the high, right? So we're gonna map that. All right, so 43.89. right, is the breakout level. 42.69 is where buyers stepped in, right? And then buyers stepped in right around this level too. Okay, so I would map this level too. And then obviously this is where 40.36 is where it kind of this is where it opened, where people took profit and then they got in and then they just rode it up. All right, so I'll map that as well. So these are the levels that I'm looking at. All right, this is the levels that I'm looking at. So when damn, and I know I'm making this video longer than I want. I wanted to try to keep this to 10 minutes, but I know I'm not going to do that. All right, so what I expect the same thing. Don't reinvent the wheel, guys. If you don't see a lot of pre-market action, right? This is the pre-market. It doesn't do anything pre-market, which means it's probably not going to have a lot of volume. And you can see that the volume stepping in. It doesn't really trade with a lot of volume, but this is easy money, guys. What you're probably going to see is the same thing more than likely happen come tomorrow. People are gonna take profit at the open, all right, and you can take that down or look for a potential area to buy a dip where shorts would cover and longs would step in because they say, hey, this is a technical breakout. It looks like it's continuing to go higher, and I want to get in on that. That's it, guys. Don't overcomplicate this, you know. So those are the levels that I would be looking at, all right. And me, I tag both ways. I just trade the trend. I don't have a bias one way or the other. But I mean, if you really want to, the best thing to always do is be on the right side of the trade. So if the stock is bullish, then you should be in when it's going, when it's going up, because that's where the overall trend is. All right, so that's what's showing you, man. This shit has been just ripping. So don't overthink it. So that's what I'm looking at for tomorrow. Now, same thing like I always say, all right, if you watch me, what your gurus don't teach you is that if you don't want to buy a stock when it just breaks out, you want to wait for a pullback and then see it hold above the breakout level and then risk off that and then take it long. That's how you buy breakouts, because a lot of them become fake outs. Like Ross from Royal Trading teaches people to buy these stupid breakouts. And what happens in Deckmark Trades and all these guys, they get dumped on. That's what you don't want to be. You don't want to get dumped on. So you just want to be careful about that. All right. Next up, GSX. Let's look. I put GSX on. Oh, wow. Look here. Another technical breakout. So, and again, this was on my watch list weeks ago when I was telling people to buy this when it broke above 25.66. So if you got in on this, you'd be up pretty nicely. Now, it's just been green, 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 green. It's been crazy. Right? Stocks can be irrational more than you could be solvent. So yeah, in theory, should this go red tomorrow, people should be taking profit. Yes, but nobody knows what the stock market is going to do, right? So you just play the levels. So is this due for a wash? Yes. And look at these pullbacks. Look at the patterns. Usually it gaps up and then washes. This day washed and then ripped, but usually gaps up, washes, gaps up, washes, gaps up. Didn't really wash too much. So what I expect tomorrow is probably that it's going to wash at the open, and we're just gonna ride that momentum down. So you got so many opportunities with these stocks. All right, and this stock had trades with more volume, 3 million shares. It's not super liquid, but liquid enough that you should be able to get it in and out, not too much of a problem. So same premise, guys. If it breaks above 33 and holds, take it long, ride it up. All right. If you're looking for a dip buy to get in, see where the buyer stepped in, right? So buyers stepped in all these areas, but technically this is where the buyers really started to step in, right around this level. And this thing pushed. So obviously I would be looking at these levels, and in theory 31.96 is also, this was the previous breakout level, so you definitely want to keep an eye on that as well. So I would look at that, and then if it breaks down, then you would see where this 30.20 level is where I would be mapped. So these are the levels that I would map essentially to get in on, but if it can't hold this at the open, ride this down. Ride this down. And then what happens is sometimes, let's say you missed the first thing, so it breaks down. You're like, shit, I missed my short. So let me see where the trend is. So you wait, so you see it bounce off this, and then you see it. If you see it bounce and then test this and then reject, then the trend may be downward, especially once it gets below VWAP, and then you could take a chance and risk off this. That's how it is, guys. Don't overthink this. Next up, MRSN. Why did I put this on my watch list? There you go, another breakout stock. Now this is stock. It finished green, but it tested, like it gapped up, and then all that selling pressure, so it kind of gapped down, right? A lot of people sold into that push. So let's see. Let's just pull the chart up. So 893 is the high. All right. So okay, and then it pulled back to 781. Now right? So these are the levels that I would be looking at for potential play. It got at the open, it gapped down to 733, and then it kind of took off. So I'd be looking to see how it reacts to these levels, you know. And just play it the same way like I told you. It looked like it was starting to close weak. My guess is tomorrow this thing just tanks, and it's probably gonna. I could potentially see this break below 733 and then retest this 666 number. I can see it retest 666. So you may be able to take this down before it can continue up. So let's see how that plays. But again, if it breaks out, pulls back and holds, ride it long. All right, next up, NVAX. Okay, NVAX. Again, why did I put this on my watch list? I'm trying to remember. I'm not sure. Let's see from a technical standpoint. Oh, because it just had this big run. Sometimes I like this went from 4 to 6. So what I like to do is I like to see how it responds at the open. A lot of times before they take off again, they have these pullbacks. So I would be looking to see potentially like right at this level to potentially, see, if it see if it pulls back and holds, then I could take it long because maybe it's gonna continue higher. But if it tests this and fades, take it down. This has a lot of, it moved up quite a bit, right? Had a big push up, so maybe it'll give it all back. We'll see. You just keep an eye on it. Doesn't mean you're gonna trade it. You just keep an eye on it. Next up, PLG. PLG. This is another one that had broke out. Oops, there we go. Pull my chart. Okay, yeah. So PLG, another chart. Look at this. Went from 195 to 287. Probably squeezed a lot of shorts. That's my guess. I haven't in metals. All these metals, like all the gold stocks, silver stocks, they're all gonna start running. I mean, the market is crazy. It's all being pumped by artificial money. I mean, this crash is gonna be so ugly. It's gonna be really bad for a lot of people, for all of us, everybody, traders, everyone. But in the meantime, just play the momentum. So same premise, right? 287 is the high, so look to see how it reacts. If it breaks above that, take it long. See, but this is a stock that doesn't trade with a lot of volume, but it had 2 million shares. That's why it was able to move over the last 5 days, over the 135,000 shares. So volume is coming in. So just take a look. I would look to see if it breaks above 287 and holds, take it long. If there's action. Sometimes these shits move sideways. They don't have really much range. It may not have much range. This could be a slow mover. Just keep an eye out on it. That's why I put it on the watch list. Next up, TELL. TELL. Let's just put up the 1 year. All right. This has had 1, 2, 3, 4 green days. The last time it had a run like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 green days, and then it just like gave it all back. So keep it on watch to see how it reacts. Right now, it's testing a near resistance level. So I would map these 3 levels above just to see how it reacts if it retests those levels, because you can see that it gives it all back. Every time it has a big push, it gives it all back. So you got to expect to give it all back, and you just ride this and wait for the opportunity to attack it on the other direction. Now, if it breaks above 872, and you could take it long, but be careful. 906 and then 939 is the next 2 levels, or maybe it pulls back. So that's why I got these. I'm not huge on these plays. I don't even know why I really put these. I like stocks with more range, but you never know. So, and I would map 799 to see how it reacts. All right, next up, MGPI. I like these plays. One of my bros from the chat room. So guys, again, if you want to join our Discord room, it's free right now. So if you want in, just let me know. I'll send you a link. We're looking for guys who are, going to be involved and committed and ask questions and share info, and it's all free. So I'm not charging anything. Just come and join and hang out and share. So I love these types of stocks because you get so much range. So look at this. This thing just, I don't know what. It's probably some shitty news that made it just tank. But now it hit a low of 36.14, right? And a lot of times these stocks that have these big breakdowns, they got right back up. And then, this is where it peaked, and then it's kind of where it pulled back. So it's holding 38 right now. So, play the technical chart, guys. Don't overthink this. See what it's going to do. If it can't hold 30, if it can hold 38, you ride this up to at least 39.50, right? If it fails 38 and then breaks down and then gaps up and can't hold it, short it. I mean, look at all the range. If it I guarantee you that if it hits 40.74, you're gonna at least get a quick watch before it continues up. Once it breaks above, ride it up and keep watching this. Watch it all week, guys. Don't watch it one day and then let it go. But once it breaks above this thing could fill the gap back up. You know, not to say it's going to, but you know, just keep look at all that range. That's what you want to be a part of. You know, and you could take options on this, and you can just, they're probably mad cheap, and you could ride this down. You know, then you can see, look, this. Let me move this over. This has had gap downs in the past. Look at this, broke down, and now it's breaking down again. It's probably gonna keep fading. It looks like the overall trend is like heading towards nothing. So look for an entry and take some puts on this. That's where the trend is. Look for the technical pattern. And then last but not least, my baby AMD. For those of you that listen, Friday I told my team, you know, guys, if this holds over 50.40, I was like, you know, take it long. I was alerting everybody right in here, hey guys, I think this is ready to push higher. And I told everybody risk 50.40, and some people did, and they got in. And I told everybody I was heading to 51, and I took the trade live. I showed everyone, you know, I told everyone I got in. I got in at 40. What is it? 49.90, I think, where I got in on that pullback. And then I had an order out there, and I was risking the close price, the previous day's close price, and I got in, and I just rolled it up, and you know, and it's been fantastic. So I think AMD is an easy long, guys. This is heading to 100. If I was you and I trade options, take some long-term calls and let it go. The SPY, I've been telling everybody thought I was crazy when I told the SPY. Everybody's been, you know, a lot of people have been giving me a lot of shit when I was telling people back when the SPY was down here in the 280s, hey, the SPY's heading to 400, and people are like, you're fucking crazy. And I'm like, no, the SPY is really heading to 400 because the Fed is pumping money and they're pumping liquidity into the markets. The SPY, this is all algos. This is all bullshit, guys. This is not a real market. This is all artificial money in the markets, and the algos taking control. When the market crashes, you see, and I'll end the video with this, but when the market crashes, and it's going to crash, guys, it's going to be a disgusting, horrible crash. But when it crashes, okay, all these gains are gone. We're heading back to, let's do 15 years, and let's just put a month. We're heading back below 67, guys. And I don't know, and it's gonna happen within the next, you know, I would say 2 years. But it's gonna be a black swan event that's gonna trigger a fucking collapse. Really, what's gonna happen is once the Fed cuts rates to zero, it's game over. It's game over. That's why I think Trump is a maniac. You know, he doesn't understand the economy. That's why he's telling the Fed to cut rates to zero. What he doesn't understand is the only thing that's saving him is that the Fed rates haven't cut rates to zero. They're factoring that in. Once the rates are at zero, there's nothing left to pump the economy up. It's just going to be a disgusting crash. So keep that in mind. And you're going to have so much opportunity to buy puts and short stocks on the way down. It's going to be a disaster. Anyway, that's what I wanted to share with you guys. There's a lot of plays. Hit me up. Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, share, follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Watchotrade. Have a good weekend, guys.